So, whenever you're about to build something new, you're faced with a choice, right? Do you just jump in, follow your gut, and start coding? Or do you step back and drop a detailed blueprint first? That's the core tension we're going to unpack today. Vibe versus spec. Now, really, think about it. When you get that spark for a new feature or a new project, what's your gut reaction? Is it to fire up your editor or to open up a new doc? Because that one decision, right at the start, can change absolutely everything. So, on one side, you've got vibe coding. It's all about intuition. It's fast. It's about that immediate feedback loop. And on the other side, you have spec-driven development. It's methodical, it's planned, it's predictable. Now, neither of these is always right or always wrong. The real superpower is knowing which one to pick for the job at hand. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the vibe coding way. Then, we'll dive into the spec-driven method. After that, we'll pit them against each other in a real-world showdown. We'll also see how AI is completely changing this game. And finally, we'll talk about how you can choose the right approach for your own work. Okay, let's get into our first approach. This is the one a lot of us, myself included, probably started with. It's that fast, flexible, and, yeah, sometimes pretty chaotic world of vibe coding. So what is it, really? Well, vibe coding is basically a process of discovery. It's this super tight loop. You write some code, you run it, you see what happens, and then you tweak it. You're literally figuring out what you're building while you're building it. And you know what? This approach can be absolutely brilliant. It's amazing for learning a new framework, right? Because you get that instant feedback. It's also perfect for prototyping, for spinning up a quick solo project, or for those times when you just want to get into that creative flow and planning would totally kill the vibe. But, and it's a big but, it has this classic predictable failure mode. Week 1, you are flying. You're shipping stuff, you feel like a genius. Then week 2 rolls around. Oh, you need to add a new feature? Turns out the whole thing wasn't designed for it. You start hitting all these edge cases you never even thought of. And just like that, all that incredible speed you had just grinds to a halt. So what's the alternative? Let's flip the script and look at the spec-driven method. This approach takes that whole process and just turns it on its head. See, instead of coding first, you think first. You write down exactly what you're building, why you're building it, and what done actually looks like. You're defining the rules of the game before you start playing. The code? That actually comes last. It's just the final step to make the plan a reality. The workflow here is really deliberate. You start with the spec, break it into clear tasks, then, and this is the magic part, you write automated tests that describe what the code should do. Of course, they all fail at first because you haven't written any code. Your job then becomes incredibly simple. Just write the code to make those failing tests pass. Once they're green, you can clean it up and document it. And for teams, this is a total game changer. When everyone's working off the same spec, there's no confusion. Your team's speed doesn't suddenly die off as the project gets more complex. And best of all, you can refactor your code with total confidence because you have this amazing safety net of tests to catch you if you break something. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's make this really concrete. Let's imagine we have 2 teams, Team A and Team B. They both get the exact same assignment, build a new/summarize endpoint for documents. So, Team A, they go the vibe coding route. On Tuesday, they just crush it. The whole thing is shipped in 10 hours. High fives all around. But then Wednesday comes, and it's breaking on certain PDFs and staging. Then on Friday, product asks, hey, can we add Word doc support? Turns out the whole architecture is hard-coded for PDFs. By Monday, they're looking at a full rebuild. Ouch. Now let's look at Team B. They spend their Tuesday writing a spec and setting up tests. They don't actually ship until Thursday, but when they do, it's solid. So when that same request for Word support comes in on Friday, it's no big deal. Their design already planned for different document types. They add the new feature in just 2 hours. Done. So what's the final score? Team A, our fast team, ended up sinking 34 hours into this mess and probably tanked team morale a bit too. Team B, the slow and steady team, got it all done, including the new feature, in just 12 hours. That upfront planning didn't just pay off, it paid off big time. Now, this whole debate gets really interesting when you throw AI into the mix. The rise of AI completely changes the stakes here. The most important thing to get is this. AI is basically a giant amplifier. It takes whatever you give it, your habits, your methods, the good and the bad,
and it just multiplies the consequences.
Think about it. If you vibe code with an AI, you're going to get a mountain of code incredibly fast, but you're also amplifying the problems. No spec, no tests, and now you have a bunch of AI-generated code that nobody really understands. But if you give that same AI a crystal clear spec, it becomes your perfect partner, executing your plan flawlessly. And this all leads to a really powerful idea for where development is heading. It's this: specs are the new syntax. Your value as a developer is no longer about how fast you can type. An AI can do that way better than any of us. No, your real value is shifting to how clearly you can think and how well you can articulate your intent. The quality of your spec will directly determine the quality of the final product. So, with all that in mind, how do you decide which way to go on your next project? Because remember, it's not about one being better all the time. It's always about the context. Vibe coding is hands down the winner when you're learning something new or just building a quick and dirty solo project you might throw away later. But for anything that's going into production, especially if you're on a team, a spec-driven approach is pretty much essential. You just have to match the tool to the stakes. I know some people hear spec and think it's just a bunch of boring bureaucracy, but it's not. Look, you can probably build a treehouse with a napkin sketch, right? But you would never, ever build a skyscraper that way. For a skyscraper, you need blueprints. Spec-driven development is just that. It's the blueprints you need when the stakes are high. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you fire up a new project, what are you going to write first? The code or the spec? Because in the age of AI, that choice matters more than it ever has before.